We're going to practice listening to our video again during reading today. But before we begin, let's make sure we're ready for learning. We have to have our thinking brain on. Can you say thinking brain? Wow, I heard so many of you say thinking brain. Our thinking brain is the brain that helps us learn and do our best. Our thinking brain helps us focus on our job. We're going to throw away our distracting brain. Our distracting brain is the brain that wants to play with our shoe while we should be learning. And it's the brain that wants to turn and talk to my neighbor when my teacher is talking. Throw away your distracting brain. Wow, I saw Daniel and Ethan throw their distracting brain away. And put on your thinking brain. Put it on. Very good. I saw Rain and London put on their thinking brain. Let's go ahead and begin now that our thinking brain is ready. Let's read our objective. Repeat after me. I can select my favorite text and draw my favorite part. Great job! I heard you read today's objective with me. Before we get started, let's remember our rules for discussion, or when we turn and talk to our partner. I have a partner with me. His name is Bunny. Can you say hi to Bunny? Good job. When Bunny and I are talking partners, we turn and we look each other in the eye. When it's Bunny's turn to talk first, I will be quiet and listen to him. He will share with me, and then when it's my turn, I will talk and Bunny will listen and look at me. Very good. Let's do a practice round. Bunny, what's your favorite color? My favorite color is purple. What's your favorite color, Miss Murphy? My favorite color is blue. Did you notice how Bunny and I were looking in each other's eyes? And when it was his turn to talk, he stopped and listened, and I listened. And when it was my turn to talk, he stopped and he listened. When we're done talking, Miss Murphy will say, "Give me 5." Say, "Give me 5." Good job. Give me 5 means that your eyes are looking, your ears are listening, your mouths are closed, your bodies are still, and your hearts are open. I can tell that you are all ready for reading today. This week in reading, we've learned about how to be fit, how to move our body to be fit and healthy. Yesterday, we read Stretch by Doreen Corrin. In this story, we learned about our character, the dog, who could stretch in all sorts of different ways. Let's remember a way he stretched in our story yesterday. Point to your thinking brain and remember, when you have your idea, flash your light bulb. I see that Rain has an idea. I want you to turn to your neighbor and tell your neighbor, "Watch me and Bunny go first." Bunny, how do you remember they stretched in the book yesterday? I remember that you can stretch out wide. Look at Bunny stretching wide. Miss Murphy, how did you remember you can stretch? I remember that you can stretch with your mouth really wide. That's called a yawn. Okay, boys and girls, it's your turn. Turn and tell your neighbor how you can stretch your body. Wow! Give me 5. I'm so impressed. When it was your turn to stop, you gave me 5. When you were talking with your turn and talk partner, I heard lots of great ideas. I heard Christy show her neighbor how the dog stretched in the book. And I heard Ethan show his neighbor how he stretched in the book. And I saw a London do a stretch she remembered from the book. Kiss your brain, boys and girls. You really were listening to yesterday's story called Stretch. Well, Doreen Corrin, the author, is very popular. In fact, she's written lots of stories. Today we will be reading another story by her. But before we read, I thought it would be fun to get to know who the author was. So I have a short video to learn about Doreen Corrin and how she writes children's books. Get your eyes focused and your ears listening to listen.
Where do you get your ideas?
Ideas come from anywhere. Sometimes it's sounds I hear, conversations I overhear, things I see, things my kids say, just about anything. A lot of times I'll be sparked by something else that I'm reading. Anything you see, hear, use, feel, think, throw it in there. Just throw it in there and see how it comes out on a page. Don't criticize yourself when you're writing. I hear kids say, well, I don't really have any good ideas. Well, there's no such thing as a bad idea. If you want to write a story about a speck of dust, then write that down.
What is your writing process?
So when I start to write, it's really just brainstorming. It's things that are not, you wouldn't ordinarily connect. Click, clack, moo, for example, was just a sound. That's all I knew. I didn't try to sit down and say, well, what does that mean? What is that supposed to mean? That doesn't make any sense. The only thing in my head was that ridiculous sound. So I wrote it down. So I always say to kids, begin with the first thing that comes into your head. If you sit down and try to come up with a title first, and then a beginning, and then a middle, and then some action for the plot, and then an end, you're not going to get anything on that piece of paper. So start with the first thing you have. Don't decide yet if it is the beginning, the middle, or the end. Just write it down. When all this stuff is in front of you on your page, you just start moving it around. If stuff doesn't make sense, then just get rid of it.
How do you create characters?
I wrote a book called The Trouble with Chickens, and I had a main character who was a search and rescue dog. And I thought, who is this character going to be? And I thought of my father. My father was a police officer, and he had certain qualities that I think a search and rescue dog would have, and he was very funny. So I start with my dad, and then I turn him into a dog, and then I look around and see, well, who else can I use? Because that blank canvas, it's very difficult to know where to start. So I try to start with concrete things. People I know, places I know, family members, and I start with them. They'll change, but it's a great, easy place to start and start hanging clothes on them and hanging characteristics on them to get them to come to life a little bit more.
Wow, Doreen Corrin has a lot of tips on how to become a great writer. We could use those tips later in writing time. Okay, boys and girls, our new story today by the same author, Doreen Corrin, is called Click, Clack, Moo, Cows That Type. Take a look here at the front cover. I want you to think about what you notice. I love how you're not calling out. You're thinking. Now that you've taken some time to look at the front cover, again, turn and tell your neighbor what you think this book will be about. I hear friends taking turns. Keep going. Give me 5. Wow, I heard some great predictions. I heard friends say that they think this book is going to be about cows and chickens and ducks because they see them on the front cover. I heard a friend say it's going to be about farm animals. You have some great predictions. Let's read and find out if your prediction is true. All right, it's time for reading. Remember, your eyes are watching and your ears are listening. Because at the end of the story, you're going to think about which book you liked better, Click, Clack, Moo or Stretch. And then you will draw your favorite part. Let's begin. Click, Clack, Moo. Cows that type.
Click, clack, moo. Cows that type. Farmer Brown has a problem. His cows like to type. All day long he hears click, clack, moo. Click, clack, moo. Click.
What animal is saying moo? Wow, I heard so many of you, like Ethan and Achilles, say cows. Let's keep reading.
Click, clack. At first, he couldn't believe his ears. Cows that type, impossible. Click, clack, moo. Click, clack, moo. Clickety, clack, moo. Then he couldn't believe his eyes. Dear Farmer Brown, the barn is very cold at night. We'd like some electric blankets. Sincerely, the cows.
Okay, give me 5. Thank you. I want to know, why were the cows typing a letter to Farmer Brown? Turn and tell your neighbor, why did they type a letter? Wow, I heard so many ideas. I heard my friend Genesis say that the cows were typing a letter because they were cold and they wanted a blanket. Let's see if our prediction and our guesses are right.
It was bad enough the cows had found the old typewriter in the barn. Now they wanted electric blankets. No way, said Farmer Brown. No electric blankets. So the cows went on strike. They left a note on the barn door. Sorry, we're closed. No milk today. No milk today, cried Farmer Brown. In the background, he heard the cows busy at work. Click, clack, moo. Click, clack, moo. Clickety, clack, moo. The next day, he got another note. Dear Farmer Brown, the hens are cold too. They'd like electric blankets. Sincerely, the cows. The cows were growing impatient with the farmer. They left a new note on the barn door. Closed, no milk, no eggs. No
Friends, who makes
eggs, cried.
Who makes the eggs? The cows or the chickens? You're right, the chickens make the eggs. So who makes the milk? Great job remembering. The cows make the milk.
Cold at night. We'd like some electric blankets. The cows had found the old typewriter in the barn. Now they wanted electric blankets. No way, said Farmer Brown. No electric blankets. So the cows went on strike. They left a note on the barn, cried Farmer Brown in the The next day, he got another note. Dear Farmer Brown, the hens are cold too. They'd like electric blankets. Growing impatient with the farmer, they left a new note on the barn door. Closed, no milk, no eggs. No eggs, cried Farmer Brown. In the background, he heard them. Click, clack, moo. Click, clack, moo. Clickety, clack, moo. Cows that type, hens on strike. Who ever heard of such a thing? How can I run a farm with no milk and no eggs? Farmer Brown was furious.
Furious means he was mad. Can you make a mad face? Let's find out what he does next.
Farmer Brown got out his own typewriter. Dear cows and hens, there will be no electric blankets. You are cows and hens. I demand milk and eggs. Sincerely, Farmer Brown. Duck was a neutral party, so he brought the ultimatum to the cows. The cows held an emergency meeting. All the animals gathered around the barn to snoop, but none of them could understand moo. All night long, Farmer Brown waited for an answer. Duck knocked on the door early the next morning. He handed Farmer Brown a note. Dear Farmer Brown, we will exchange our typewriter for electric blankets. Leave them outside the barn door, and we will send Duck over with the typewriter. Sincerely, the cows. Farmer Brown decided this was a good deal. He left the blankets next to the barn door and waited for Duck to come with the typewriter. The next morning, he got a note. Dear Farmer Brown, the pond is quite boring. We'd like a diving board. Sincerely, the ducks. Click, clack, quack. Click, clack, quack. Clickety, clack, quack. Thanks for listening. Tune in.
Boys and girls, did Duck give Farmer Brown the typewriter? No, he kept it for himself, and he wrote another note. What did his note ask for? Turn and tell your neighbor, what did his note ask for? Look at your neighbor in the eyes. Wow, I heard Gabriella say that the duck asked for a diving board to dive into his pond. Wow, you guys were listening so well. Now we need to point to our thinking brain. What was your favorite part of either Click Clack Moo or Stretch? Which part was your favorite? Thinking first. I see some light bulbs flashing. You have a favorite part already. Now, turn and tell your neighbor. Say, my favorite part was... I like how you're taking turns. I see that your eyes are on your partner. Give me 5. Wow, great job, boys and girls. You shared your favorite part of either Click Clack Moo or Stretch. Today, your job will be to circle your favorite book, Stretch or Click Clack Moo. But before we begin, let's go over our success criteria, or how we'll know that we learned this. Our first star today is if you can circle the book you like. Remember, it's your opinion, so it's how you think and how you feel, and it can be different than your neighbor's. Then you will get a star for drawing an answer to the question. The question is, what is your favorite part from your favorite book? So you'll draw a picture, then you will write something that goes with that picture. Finally, you will tell your teacher what you wrote. So boys and girls, your paper is going to look like this. After you write your name, you will circle the book that you like the best. Remember, it's your opinion, how you feel and think. So there's no wrong answer. Just pick the one you like the best. Then in this big box, you will draw a picture of your favorite part of the book you circled. So if I circle Click Clack Moo, I need to draw my favorite part of Click Clack Moo. If I circle Stretch, I need to draw my favorite part of Stretch. After I'm done drawing and adding details to my picture, I will write what I drew and then tell my teacher. I'll go first. Remember, first I have to circle my favorite part. Then circle my favorite book, Then draw my favorite part, and finally write a sentence to match my picture. All right, I'm going to reveal to you my favorite book. My favorite book was Click Clack Moo. And my favorite part of Click Clack Moo is when the chickens and the hens typed on their typewriter and said, "No eggs." Do you see how my picture goes with the book I picked as my favorite? Yes, great job. Then I will write a sentence. I like when the chickens type. That sentence matches my picture. It's your turn to think. Which book did you like the best? I see your light bulbs. What part was the best? Okay, boys and girls, you will now get your paper and you will do your job. Then we will record, after we're done working, we will record our picture and our writing in the media recording. I'll help you with that part when we get to it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for keeping your thinking brain on. And thanks for following directions. I'm so proud of you. Kiss your brain.